In this session, we're going to talk about the average rate of change. And here is where the average rate of change comes in. It's actually the slope. So the slope, its mathematical notation is M. Remember that M is the rise over the run. M, which is the slope, that's also delta Y over delta X. So this delta, you see, it means change in Y over the change in X. The change in Y is Y sub 2 minus Y sub 1 over X sub 2 minus X sub 1, which is also the average rate of change. The average rate of change is F of X sub 2 minus F of X sub 1 divided by X sub 2 minus X sub 1. So let's take a look at an example. So in this example, we're asked to use the function h of t is equal to 128t minus 16t squared. And we're asked to find the average rate of change of the function from half a second to 1 second. So we have the average rate of change. We have h of t. That's equal to 128t minus 16t squared. And we have the interval from half a second to 1 second. Right. So I'm just going to get rid of our unit of second. So we have the interval from 1/2 to 1. So that first time we have, that's going to be x of 1 comma x of 2. So we're going to write out this average rate of change. I'm going to abbreviate that as h of t sub 2 minus h of t sub 1 divided by t2 minus t1. So how do we find h of t2 and how do we find h of t1? Well, we'll simply take our h of t, which is 128t minus 16t squared. We'll substitute in t for 1, right? Because we have x of 1 and x of 2. Since we're dealing with time, I'm going to call this now t sub 1 and t sub 2. So we're going to substitute in t sub 2 for 1. We're going to substitute in t sub 1 for 1/2. And then we're going to divide by t sub 2 minus t sub 1. So I'm going to write this out as h of t sub 2. That's going to be 128 times 1 minus 16 times 1 squared, right? That's going to give me h of t sub 2 minus h of t sub 1. So I'm going to substitute in t sub 1 for 1/2. So this is 128 times t, which is 1/2, minus 16 times t squared. So I'm going to substitute t for 1/2 squared. This is h of t sub 1 divided by t sub 2, which is 1 minus 1/2. Now, when I substitute h of t sub 2, you should have 112 minus, when you simplify h of t sub 1, you should have 60 divided by 1 minus 1/2, which is 1/2. 112 minus 60 is 52 divided by 1/2. And 52 divided by 1/2 is 104. So our average rate of change is 104.